Hello, this is Brian Resney, president of Resney Wealth Management, bringing you an important update about the economy and the investment markets. Well, we're firmly into the fourth quarter of 2020, and ultimately the economy is getting more stable. Of course, the job market needs to improve more, but it's already come back quite a bit. There's arguments back and forth right now about another additional stimulus plan, and I don't want to get into great detail about it, but one side wants to basically fund really defunct cities and states that have overspent for decades, and that's why you're hearing a $2.6 trillion deal on one side. The other side basically wants to fund things that really are affected by the virus. Now, as a policy guy and understanding how money management works, I'm all for helping the people that actually need help right away. Funding and using taxpayer dollars across this country to prop up pension plans that were overcompensated and overpromised, in my opinion, is a huge mistake. So I think this current administration is doing exactly what they need to do. But we need an additional stimulus plan, certainly to help these individuals out, and something will ultimately get done. Now, the election's basically less than a month away. Make sure you do get out and vote. And as always, make sure you vote and do a little education before you vote so you really understand what you're voting for. It's interesting. I've received just really literally dozens and dozens of questions or comments, what our opinion is about the election, what's going to happen, who to vote for, that kind of stuff. And again, that's totally up to you, the voter. But make sure you do quality research. It's interesting, though, when you look at these polls. And again, one of the things that I always stress is in the political arena, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, in our personal opinion at Resney Wealth Management, they're all pretty much worthless. They don't do the jobs they're supposed to do, and they're really in there for power and money. And that's unfortunate. But it's hard to get quality people in government because you see all the rhetoric that's been passed on really in the last 4 years alone is pretty sickening. But the current administration policies are sound policies and they're good for better growth. So let me reiterate, whether Joe Biden gets in, the economy is going to keep chugging along. The world's not coming to an end. Democrats like to spend money in slightly different places. If Donald Trump gets reelected, his policies are better growth policies. The economy will grow realistically more, in our opinion, and that will be better, again, for the U.S. economy and every person in America. But you ultimately have to make your own decision what you decide. When we look at the end of this year, 2020, not only are we looking at the end of this year, but really we're looking at the next 3 to 5 years. Unfortunately, too many investors look at the short term, the volatility you have today or the world's coming to an end scenarios, which is never going to happen, folks. I assure you of that. We see a recovery continuing through the rest of this year, but I am more concerned about the next 3+ years and really growing this economy back, which ultimately will get done. Our economy will get stronger. We are invested in areas that we feel are the best areas to currently be invested in. We will be making some fine-tuning adjustments as we always do. And depending who ultimately wins the election, we may make some subtle changes on either side of the equation or the party. Because again, if Biden got in, there's going to be some things we're going to want to allocate more money to on the investment side. And if Donald Trump gets in, there's things that we're going to want to continue to keep because those are going to be better growth policies on another side. So again, make sure you do get yourself out and vote. As I've always stressed, the media today is ridiculous. It is so not newsworthy, or the things they talk about are not newsworthy in general. And the things that every American should be educated on are really not talked about in the news anymore. It's really a lot of hype and circus at this point. And unfortunately, the vast majority of Americans get their information from these news services. I always stress to investors this. Do some real research on your own about whether it's the weather, climate change, the economy, whatever it is that you have an interest in. But if you do your own research and you really look for outside sources other than the general news media and cable news, you'll probably be a much happier camper. Never ever make investment decisions or any decisions off hype. I can tell you, managing money for over 30 years and having literally, thousands of clients over the years, we get a very small percentage that fall prey to a lot of this hyped up stuff, whether it's a newsletter in the inbox about, oh, buy gold, the world's coming to an end, or buy this or do that. Never make decisions based upon hype. Make them on facts. And every investment that we own at our firm and our client portfolios has been thoroughly researched. And there's a catalyst. There's a catalyst why it should do well. And one of the stressful things with investing is time. Remember, everything doesn't go up at the same velocity and at the exact same time. But if you've done your research and you own assets that are appropriate for today's current economic condition or cycle, you'll be well rewarded, in our opinion, on the long term. Don't worry about the short term. Look at the next 3+ years. Ultimately, we see green pastures coming ahead. We see a great opportunity not only in the equity markets, but other asset categories and subcategories within the equity markets. And I think investors are going to be very happy by year end and certainly in the next 3 years. As a client of our firm, if you have any questions, any concerns, please call us at the office. We love talking to you, or call us and schedule a phone review or an in-office review. We want to make sure your questions are answered and you're 100% happy and satisfied, not only with our client communication, but of course with our investment management. Have yourself a safe and profitable day.